Shantideva, in his Bodhicharyavatara, says that life is short. There are too many things to know, and we do not know the span of our life. Therefore, just as the swans extract milk from water, take those which you really need, which is absolutely true, and particularly in today's world, what is known as the age of information. There are so many things to know. But out of these so many things to know, if there's spare mats, can you pass it to others for sitting? So what I was saying was, life is short. There are too many things to know. There are too many things to know. Is it necessary to know everything? Maybe not necessary. But there are certain things you must know. What is known as specialization. In certain areas, if you become expert, well versed, it may be very good for you to get a job. It may also be very good in helping others. But jack of all trade, master of none, may not be so useful. Pelanganzu paper so chachawena. Pia we lamna me. Injia we lamna me. In lega kandisrare. So in one area, even if you want to read many, okay, but in one area, mathematics, science, whatever, in one area you should be good. In one area, you should be good. Then you tumbo dua mangbo. In one subject, one area, we should really be good and should be well versed. Kharse. Kiu chawa kai chikche titharchi. Kharse dijela. Ene khare mangbochi jangidine chokar yores. Dawa jeve sating salva hi karma mangbo soji new mai se yore text now. So this concept of specialization is nothing new. It is there in the all Tibetan Buddhist teachings, all the Tibetan texts. Kharase chikje dia kuchtemas chiu chawa kai chikje titharchi. Oh, chiu chawa kai chikje titharchi. Sempa anjurde mangboji shigus. Dawa jebe setting salva hi karma mangbo soju new mayas. If you read the ancient Tibetan Buddhist texts, they talk about specialization, importance of specialization. So this one verse says, "Pyoge nala jivu chawa kai chikche tarchin se jivu ka chawa kari na chikche wa de tarchin ba che na." Sempa anjurdes, ene chonanga semde kebardo pagba keba chagres. Sempa anjurde mangbuchi shi goyose. Ila mela mangbuchi goyemduas. Peson de karishasena dawa jebe sading dawa de chazang develop chene wechik ligduas. Ti dawa ge ho de teba nahi karma mang thaju sharne kete thumduas. Dawa jebe sading salva hi karma mangbu so you knew mai. So this verse loosely translated saying, when an individual does something, he should complete it. do it thoroughly so that he become well versed in it, become a master in it. And it's by doing that you will excel. So from that point of view, it is of not much point to become jack of all, a little bit here, a little bit there, not being well versed in anything. And to prove this point, he gives an example by saying that, for example, when you have this fully developed moon, then the light that is given by a fully developed moon cannot be matched by countless stars that is twinkling and shining, you see. Specialization. The pertinent point here that I want to drive at is, life is short. True, already, much of it is already spent. And there are too many distractions, too many things to know. And you will never be able to know all of these things, and it's not necessary. Although we proudly call our age of information, but much of the information we have today is junk information. You are familiar with this concept, junk mail. I'm not just inventing it, There are viruses there, junk mail there. And again here, the Buddha has said, don't make your mind a dustbin. If you put every information that's irrelevant, not important, then you are making your mind a junk box. So next time when you try to get useless information, you should at least be careful and say, oh, I should not put all this rubbish in my mind, because my mind is not a dustbin. Buddha said it. Don't make your mind a dustbin. So therefore, it is really important to start recognizing and doing those things which is absolutely important and necessary. With this genuine need to have long-lasting peace and happiness, which nobody can deny. This being the case, honestly and sincerely and sit down and think, what is it that's really beneficial for my long-lasting peace and happiness? Okay, on and off you get a little bit distracted and see things here and there, but I sometimes use the word, but there should be a national highway. When you take a long journey, you have to go by the national highway, the big road. And then of course a little bit, get digressed for a cup of tea or for lunch, we stop on the road. That is okay. So otherwise it's not good to get sidetracked, because life is short. Life is number one short, and then we are not sure how long we are going to live. This is a fact, not fiction. And therefore personally I am not interested in reading fictional books, although they are very attractive and very engrossing. For language, other things may be useful, but I'm not deciding your fate, I'm just giving some suggestions. So anyway, earlier I cited this quotation from Shantideva's Bodhicharyavatara, which says, Keva tumar rabgung zeba yi tuan amji dingi pember sings. And this line says, in the Bodhisattva way of life, this line says that the Buddhas, I'm saying not one Buddha, the Buddhas meditated, contemplated, thought for countless eons, trying to figure out what is it that is most beneficial to everybody. Keva tumar rab gung zebayi tuanamji. And the result of their long-term contemplation, what is it that is really good for sentient beings? They all have agreed on the point bodhicitta. Tuanamji dingi pemberse chanju simti khonata yakhyore. Conclusion digan libres, which is absolutely true. The wish to benefit others, be it love, be it compassion, be it bodhicitta. The other day I said bodhicitta is the most important of all the good minds. And therefore the great teachers like Shantideva, and then in the very recent past, great bodhisattvas like Khunu, Lama Tenzin Gyaltsen. He says, if you are sleeping, practice bodhicitta. If you are going, practice bodhicitta. If you are walking, practice bodhicitta. It's like a panacea that would cure all kind of illnesses, sicknesses. The only thing is, as we read yesterday, only thing is we don't have that courage to do these practices. If we do it, then the peace and happiness is guaranteed. This is not to say that you will have no problem, no difficulty. Even when you have difficulty, there will be no difficulty. Even when you have problem, there will be no problem. How? Because the so-called problem, difficulty is your mental projection. It's your mental projection. And that's why thinkers and people, they say like, out of the, so let us say you are thinking that you are suffering from 100% suffering. Then they say out of this so-called 100% suffering, if you think carefully, 70% is not even suffering. Look at this. It's your mental projection. You created it and you are unnecessarily suffering. For example, there's in an empty room, there is no elephant, but there is a little bit darkness and you are unable to see clearly, some shadows are moving, then you thought there's an elephant or there's a snake. It's not there. It's because you don't know the reality. You have misconception, and from that misconception arises fear, discomfort, suffering. 70% I'm saying of your suffering can be eliminated. And there lives only 30%. Out of the 30%, remaining 30%, another around, I mean not necessarily exact, but something like around 20% are suffering, but they are changeable sufferings. But instead of sitting there doing nothing, complaining, if you figure out what are the causes for these sufferings, you can change it. So by working, by facing, by challenging the situation, you can overcome the other 20% of suffering. So in this way you are able to remove 90% of suffering. And there lives only 10% of suffering. Now let us say that remaining 10% of sufferings are not only suffering, but they are stubborn sufferings, adamant sufferings, about which you can't do anything. So what should you do now? Then you should say, Hindi में बोलता है ना, साले को गोली मारो. Then you should say, go hell with you. I will not even pay attention to you, because this is something that there's nothing you can do. So why you should worry about it? No use. So instead of that, you focus on those things which you can do, where you can enjoy, where you will be happy, you see. So that means, again, most of the time, if you get a little bit of problem, you get stuck there, only thinking about this problem, Other possibilities you don't think, you get stuck there. Oh, I'm so unfortunate, For example, if your left hand is missing, then is it better to keep on thinking about this missing hand or the one which you have? If you feel miserable, keep on thinking about this missing hand, the missing hand will not come back. It will only make you vulnerable, unhappy. It will cripple you. I visited many lepers colony in India, especially the headquarters in Madras. So these lepers, all their fingers are gone. But still, because there is a good overseer there, so therefore they are all very cheerful, and without this finger they are playing carom board, and even without this finger, some of them just with this stump, they are painting beautiful paintings. When you don't give up, when you don't lose hope, you can do so many things. Sports competition by those disabled people is something that you see all the time on the television channels. So what about us, those of us who have everything? So that's why these teachings are important, because it changes your perspective. It will tell you the reality. If you turn a blind eye on the reality, and live in a fictitious world, you will suffer. So therefore it is really important, life is short. I cannot just waste my time, touching so many things, but do something which will really help you, which will really help others. Not just Buddhism. Even if you are, as I already said, even if you are looking for a job, you should be good in one thing. If you are jack of all trade, then how can you get a job? Oh, his English is not good. Oh, his Tibetan is not good, and you will suffer. So that's important. So since today is the last day, we need to finish the remaining of the verses. So verse number 34 we read yesterday, where we read, while in cyclic existence, how can I be joyful and unafraid? If in my heart I readily prepare a place for this incessant enemy of long duration, the soul calls for the increase of all that harms me. So basically saying, so long as you harbor, so long you allow these afflictive emotions stay comfortably within your head, within your heart, you cannot be happy. And yesterday I gave the example like sharing the room with your sworn enemy. If you are compelled to share your room with a sworn enemy, you cannot be happy, you cannot enjoy. It's just like the sheep and the wolf. Living together. Sheep and the wolf live together. The poor sheep, he will not get a wing of sleep, you see. If you live with afflictive emotions, you can't have happiness. If you live with anger, you can't be happy. If you live with desire, you can't be happy. As Mahatma Gandhi said, there is enough for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. With greed, we are destroying the whole planet now. Okay? Verse number 35. Verse number 35 is basically saying that the only job these afflictive emotions have is to harm you, to destroy you, as we discussed yesterday. And how shall I ever have happiness if in a net of attachment within my mind, if your mind is infested with net of attachment, countless forms of negative emotions like attachment, hatred, and so on. And so long as in your mind there dwell the guardians of the prison of cyclic existence, which basically means these negative emotions. They are there as if they are the guardian of cycle of existence. And their job is only to harm you, destroy you. These disturbing conceptions that become my butchers. Butchers means that it is these negative emotions that takes the life of nirvana, takes the life of liberation. If you want to achieve liberation, it will obstruct you. So it will kill the life of liberation, of nirvana. So they are like butchers. So long as, and they are tormentors in hell. As we discussed earlier, that it is because of your having committed negative emotions that you see all horrible, terrible things. It is not necessary there is a hell realm created by somebody with hot, cauldrons ready for you to be cooked, or frightful evil spirits waiting there with their bulky belly and swords hanging ready to chop your head. But such appearances will be there as a result of your wrongdoing. Pena chachana tanga to this test kotuba chegorda. He never said magi chiyawati. Enga to dubuchima tang magili never tangi cook de tendesiamar. Some lunal. Pena so kung to chebo sana and the kung sasa does a be henansa what the duja janja tongudoa. Doja shukchebo, Chichevan, Pagit, and Dongachimena in Doho Hiu Tongrova. 캬바면도 와쳐서 대 삼로게 수구요데 그러와 배나 미치길다는 찌기 동에서 찌기가 인도 하라서 그래 캬바 개면도 와 수수 낭말 그리고도 마도. So the point is, it is not necessary that there is a physical hell, waiting for you to be cooked alive or burnt alive. But these are primarily results of your wrongdoing. When you engage in wrongdoing, strange things appear to you. For example, we need to understand this clearly in practical sense of time. For example, right now, if we all meditate on, say, His Holiness Dalai Lama or Buddha, if we look at that photo or figure carefully, make it part of our mind, get habituated with that, get a little bit accustomed with that. It's very likely tonight you will see that image of His Holiness and Buddha again. And additionally, because mind is a very good storyteller, and then you, in addition to that, probably you will get a bonus. For example, you might get, unexpected dreams of like flying, or in a very peaceful place where other important enlightened beings are there. You get those kind of unexpected dreams. On the other hand, if you had picked a very violent fight with somebody and had your mind habituated with that, it's very likely today or tomorrow you will again play that scene again in the night. So this is how we experience terrible things or positive things in the future life when we do something in this very life. So there's the meaning of experiencing heaven or hell. Verse number 36. And he continues to explain more disadvantages and faults of afflictive emotions. And he is basically saying that there will be some difficulties, there will be some hardships when you try to confront the afflictive emotions, when you try to remove them, but it is a worthwhile project. It's a worthwhile project. So be patient. Don't get discouraged when you fight these negative emotions. And he gives the example by saying, look at how you fight your human enemy. Now in the case of the human enemy, however much that human enemy pretends that he is strong and he is brave, but he is actually very weak. This psychophysical aggregate itself is subject to destruction and death. Therefore Shantideva said, you don't have to kill people, they will die. And we don't understand that, therefore we intentionally try to create more suffering upon others and try to take their life and so forth. So this is what is being said here. Therefore, as long as this enemy is not slain with certainty before my very eyes, I shall never give up exerting myself towards this end. So this kind of promise you have to make. Now for a practitioner, the real enemy is not the external enemy, but the negative emotions. Your enemy, your physical enemy also doing something bad because of the negative emotions within the mind of that person. It's not really necessary that person while tormenting you, is enjoying. It's not necessary. But he is helpless. He is stupid. He is ignorant, you see. But one which without any purpose continuously keeps on tormenting you, harming you, is the afflictive emotions. Therefore, when you wage a war against these forces of afflictive emotions, you should be really, really intelligent, you should really, really be courageous. And you should make this decision that until I am able to at least reduce the intensity of these afflictive emotions, I am not going to take rest. That's what he is saying. Therefore, as long as this enemy, afflictive emotion, is not killed, not slain for sure, with certainty, before my eyes, that means it's not that you should somewhere then think it's killed, it's not like that. When you go to the battlefield also, you need to make sure that your enemy is really dead, So I want to slay these afflictive emotions right in front of my eyes. And until I am able to do that, I shall never give up exerting myself towards this end, making effort towards this end. So this is a very important project which might take a long time, but you should make a promise that for the rest of my life I will try my best. It's not easy, I'm not saying it is easy, the text is not saying it is easy, but you should say that for the rest of my life, one of the most important projects for me is to reduce the afflictive emotions, so that I gain an upper hand. Right now the negative emotions have gained an upper hand and you are doing what they are saying. Anger says do this, yes sir. Attachment says do this, yes sir. You have no control, you don't have the wisdom, you don't have the love, you don't have the compassion. But now with this kind of knowledge you should say no, 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 no. Gone are the days when you befooled me. Gone are the days when you cheated me. Now with His Holiness's teaching, now because of reading this Buddhist text, I know who you are. As I said yesterday. So now you can't bully me, you can't cheat me, you can't exploit me. That decision one, that is called Dharma practice, real Dharma practice. And he gives example why you should be so enthusiastic in fighting against these negative emotions. He gives an example in the next lines. He says, even in ordinary case, he's saying, even in ordinary case, having become angry with someone who caused only slight and short-lived harm, when we get angry with some other human brothers and sisters, they might have harmed you, but that harm is minor. They might have called you by a bad name, they might have wounded you a little bit at the most. So that is a very small harm. But even when you get such a small harm, which is short-lived, you will get so angry, What did you call me? So before you are able to fight and chase away this enemy, you don't get sleep, you see. We are so brave in dealing with our enemy. Self-important people will not sleep until their enemy is overcome. You are about the self-important people, it's not really important. Even when another human being does slight harm, then these stupid self-important people, they just want to repay back, fight back. And if they are not able to do that, they will say, I will not sleep. If this is your nature, then how is it possible that you are so patient with these negative emotions? Nyomogi kari chena laso selap dode. Rawa kongdo saju dongen soju kongdo saju dongen chagro. Rawa doja gi nyoju yang la chung suicide che chigorwa sang. Rawa tile lenchi ge mewachi that is rawa. So he's saying, like, when you are ruled by negative emotions, you are so patient. Anger makes you lose your analytical power. Anger makes you ugly. Anger makes you, your blood pressure increase. Anger takes away your sleep. But still you are patient. Mr. Anger, I'll do whatever you say. And then with attachment, you are ready even to commit suicide for getting something. Yes, Mrs. Attachment, I will obey whatever you say kind of attitude, So with the human wrongdoings done by human beings, you are unable to tolerate. You want to immediately challenge and retaliate. So therefore, he is basically saying, therefore this kind of patience that you are practicing with afflictive emotions is called wrong patience. Soba kolo, nyingji chego sala mewache, nyingji kolo. Soba chego sala mewache, soba kolo. So therefore in the next verse it says, you must now put on the armor, just like when you go to battlefield you need to put on this armor so that you will fight and the enemy is not able to harm you. And if while engaged in a violent battle, now he takes and gives another example. And if while engaged in a violent ordinary battle, the vigorous desire to conquer those whole disturbing conceptions will naturally bring them suffering and death. Men disregard the pain of being pierced by spears and arrows and will not withdraw until the day is won. Now when you fight with these ordinary people, when you engage in a violent battle and fight with ordinary people who are naturally susceptible to harms and deaths, but still there, when you are in the battle, you are so vigorous in your desire, you wish to conquer that enemy so strong that you are ready to face all the harms that is coming from the enemy. We are ready to jump in front of a cannon. When others are even throwing bomb on your head, still to show that you are brave, you jump, and of course the end result is death. So this is called stupid in the Buddhist teaching. So therefore it is important, really important that you compare these two battles that you fight, the nature of these two battles. One, the battle in which you fight with the fight with another human being, and then second is the battle in which you fight with the afflictive emotions. Rangshin chives, rawa midachina ko rangshin hidurawa. Dunge yo degi nyomon korang hi chojo fred nyomon sana de fragile siore. Tinde chigla thabge kabla yungor se de maksala tinde chigla thabge kabla hiuchi ngarga chine ndugurwa ningdob che de shombar deba ya dadan dong söngi phona dunge kharchungna tandu che se ne ndugduas. Done the mandu par de su logum do asiore. I mean in an ordinary battle where the one who is fighting with you is weak, physically, mentally weak, susceptible to death, fragile, ready to die. Even then, you will make it a point to vanquish that enemy and will be ready to face all kind of harms that comes from sword, cannon, spears, whatever. And you will say that I will never withdraw until I won the battle. And especially in the case of a communist country, you are in fact not allowed to return back. There's somebody coming behind you, and if you try to run, they'll shoot you. So if you pretend to be so brave in such ordinary fight, why don't you be braver when you fight with these negative emotions? Because these negative emotions have been harming you from beginningless life. The human enemies, mostly enemies of this life. That also for a short time. But these negative emotions, day and night, wherever you go, the ordinary enemies, they may be harming you when you are in India, but if you go to America, they will not be able to reach you. The negative emotions, wherever you go to America, it's there. Go to Europe, it's there. Until you become a Buddha, they will be there. Because negative emotions, they are in your mind. That's the problem. You have already given a place in the headquarters of your mind. So unless you make special effort in removing these negative emotions, lock, stock, barrel, from the depth of your mind, wherever you go, you will have problem, you will have difficulty. So, verse number 38. Then what need to mention that I should not be faint-hearted and slothful even if I am caused many hundreds of sufferings, when now I strive to definitely overcome my natural enemies, these disturbing emotions, which are the constant source of my misery. So therefore it's saying that I should not be now coward, I should not be faint-hearted, I should not be slothful, I should not be lazy, even if I have to encounter a lot of problem. And you don't have to encounter a lot of problem actually. If you do the spiritual practice, it is called Lam Devane Div Devalandova. You travel from peace to peace, you travel from happiness to happiness. If you take up the arms for fighting negative emotions, then the arms are love. The weapons are compassion, patience, practice of morality. So these are all wonderful practices, wonderful facilities. So you will, in the true sense of the term, you will have not much difficulty. It is only that you are faint-hearted. You are not starting, you are not doing. If you start doing it, you will see how much peace you are getting already, even before you become a Buddha, or even before you become a Bodhisattva. You will already start experiencing that peace and happiness. So you travel from peace to peace, light to light. Then what need to mention that I should not be faint-hearted and slothful in fighting against these negative emotions, because they have been there with you for a long, long time. As I said, they are in the headquarters of your mind. They are entrenched deep down in your mind. So it will take time. But this doesn't mean to say that you can't bring about that change. So therefore, the best way of fighting against these negative emotions is that you will not be able to fight against all these negative emotions at one go. So therefore, one method is that out of these countless negative emotions, you should judge yourself and see which of these negative emotions has a predominant presence in your mind. Whether you have stronger presence of anger, stronger presence of jealousy, stronger presence of attachment, whichever has a predominant presence, deal with that, because that's going to do a lot of harm to you. Try to reduce that. That's the way. Then in the long run, the best method is, of course, meditation on emptiness, based on which you see everything having no inherent, no independent existence. If things have no inherent existence, no independent existence, they are like an illusion, like a dream, then there is nothing worthwhile to hate, nothing worthwhile to develop attachment, nothing worthwhile to get angry. So this is, of course, the long-term solution, which we'll read at the end of this text. Verse number 39. If even scars inflicted by meaningless enemies are worn upon the body like ornaments, then why is suffering a cause of harm to me, while impeccably striving to fulfill the great purpose? That means, now look at these two fights, the fight with the ordinary enemy and the afflicted emotions. When we fight an ordinary enemy, then you try to be very brave, fight, and while in the process of fighting, the enemy harms you, you are wounded, and then later on the wound is healed and the battle is over, then still you talk about this battle very proudly. As I went to the Bangladeshi Marchi, the Yoruba thing sang, Bangladeshi Kavlat Kejorda, Sikaji, Machiguna, Ditain, and the Jinja Ngomgachigrodi. The meaningless wound that you got at that time, you will display it as it is a precious big ornament. In an ordinary fight, when you're caught and wounded, then escapes, later on the wound is healed, then still you will talk about this battle, how brave I was. See the wound, You will display it as it is a big ornament. So this being the case, how is it that you are not able to display these good things when you fight the negative emotions? Nga khungdo nyung tu tangyo da, dosa nyung tu tangyo sine, lava manu kachira chikara, ngune chana lava dosa lava goyera wa. Chue chi nyamlen chena, di nyamlen chikara se khane lava nugu mundu wa, di me khenda machi dukcha jimba dawa. Me khenda ki de chale jabga che, zugla kangla chi, gomda ji jabna khenda jun, sanyi nanyi thawa che imbe, singenda. Dosa dukcha re, lukso dukcha re, ngune. 현다지 지기는 들 ngakjuche pe yakures kama ni mane chorne geva hiuyores ngazu ke pebege tumo mai be chejueres mi 현다 ke yime chigduas semkiwa yakures ngakjuche ne yakuro yaman ta dex jogo sanjeng da hyo dikpa yorda dindechena susu maji mili che majone dikpa yor uneche I'm telling a joke. Now, the ordinary habit, I'm telling them, the ordinary habit is when somebody is doing good, people may make fun of it. They don't encourage. The Tibetans are basically very light-hearted people, you know, they are fond of making jokes and they're very, very easygoing people. So sometimes, you know, when your friend is, say, doing some prayers in the veranda of the temple, then your other friend sees it and then says, what are you doing? Are you going to become a monk or a nun, you know? So I'm telling them, you know, don't discourage people saying things like that, you know. Encourage them. Because if you disrupt others' good practices, you are going to collect negative karma. Even if you are unable to do, when others do, rejoice. Jesu yaran sej doa, Jesu yaran di mi changbu gili chej res lavre. Susu shira chema tu na aram se nyende roa. Ini me chema chig. Pe yakure da lamna khepsan simbol. Ta dia thugi omaro ngado. Dia matu je dia thakdo je ne chom do chi. So rejoicing, you know, there is a teaching which says that if you are a clever person, then practice rejoicing. You personally don't have to do much, but just watch other people and then rejoice, you know. Oh, wonderful, you know. So we don't even do that easy practice. The dua, teme dai masul te bayans. Lule gendan daba sel chena, sidu sel chena sena, chete chene, cherish chene, nyarne. Tenshin dubshir yanda sunjiba dala dungar chishir nuji. Chesa, when you are trying to achieve this great purpose of defeating afflictive emotions, don't get discouraged. It's a wonderful opportunity. Be brave. That's why some of the great Tibetan Buddhist teachers, thinkers, look at their mental perspective, you know. Sometimes some of these masters say, when they hear the word suffering, then they say, what? Suffering? What is that? Because they never experienced suffering. Their mental attitude is so perfect. They see everything in a pure light. Especially if you are engaging in tantric practice, mantra, protecting the mind. Sigdwa mantra sana, tantra sana. Tantra means protecting the continuity of the mind. Mantra means protecting the mind. How would you protect your mind? You will protect your mind if you see everything in a pure light, in the positive way. And ordinarily we suffer because we see everything in a negative light. Rawa, azu shika de dineju michi yakbu che tora chi tangwa ina. Ko yakbu hyudu la nya hinda dig dil nyam tu join chi mare. Ko tiso da o si ji re te le ya. Ta hinda dukja mangbu hye yo dong do re. Tiso yakbu mare di. Dukja yuji re. Yone tanda dukja kor hye yo marwa. It's another human habit, you know. If, for example, if somebody is praising somebody, then this other friend hears the praise, then instead of joining, oh, wonderful, is this the quality of that person? Wonderful. Instead of saying that, oh, in this he may be good, but, you know, meaning that he has also many bad things. But we are not talking about those bad things at that point of the time. So when somebody is saying good things, just appreciate. And somebody is praising you, the text says somebody is praising you, don't get puffed up. Instead, you should think, oh, he is praising me, he is good. Because he knows what is good. Normally we don't do that. If somebody praises you, then Sagishan Lamsa. Tatadu Garo Chijun Tondo Shachira. Tanda didn't go to eat. Pyoge love this gimuge ma, he said. Next time I'll teach in Tibetan, because there seem to be more laughter. Verse number 40. The Kalites Jamugo the Kawayore Segor Zambilinal. Church do Kalites and do Segor Kalites Jamugo can legachingal tendas, the situation Himadilagore. Even if you are saying that, yes, I want to do Dharma practice, but I have to encounter a lot of hardship. If that is what you are saying, then he answers this by saying, okay, then tell me, not just Dharma, any activity that you do in human life which you don't have any problem and hardship. And he gives example. For example, look at the fishermen. If fishermen, hunters and farmers whose concern is merely their own livelihood, it's not for the benefit of all sentient beings, but still for their livelihood, they have to endure the sufferings of the heat and cold. So why am I not patient? For the sake of the world's joy. When you engage in spiritual practice, you are trying to benefit so many people, and which you will do. For example, His Holiness is benefiting so many people because he did that practice. There are many others who are able to do that because they did their practice. So why is it that you don't have delight in your mind? So the most important thing when you engage in Dharma practice, there should be delight. So the chembore jawar mu chung ju khye yakbu chung sung shoge khyen jore chung tang the ga sang sang chi chung kang gel to ba usla bra. Making effort in Buddhism means having delight in the good practice. It's not just making in the sense of being foolhardy. It basically means delighting in what you do. If there is a delight, you will continuously do it. If there is a reluctance, you will do it for one day, next time you will completely get lost. Delight. Verse number 41. And not only that, if you don't practice, if you don't make effort, then you are violating your vow, your commitment. When you receive teaching from His Holiness, you cultivated bodhicitta. Chanju semlang you giro mangchek. Ta tanda nyamle majena ne chara tamsik the geres dilab gyorta. When I promised to liberate, when you received teaching on bodhicitta from His Holiness, you made a promise. You took the bodhisattva vow. So when I promised to liberate all beings who dwell in the 10 directions as far as the end of space, from their disturbing conceptions, nyomole tharvachigins. Having made that commitment, forget about helping others get rid of their suffering. If you do not take care of removing your own afflicted emotion, then how are you going to help others? I myself was not yet freed from mine afflicted emotions. So therefore it's very important that you reduce your afflicted emotions. Because if you don't remove afflicted emotions, if you don't know, who you are, what is your capacity, then even if you talk about these things, it is just like talk by a mad person. Verse 42. Thus unaware of even my own capacity. The capacity. Was it not somewhat crazy to have spoken like that? Yet as this is so, I must never withdraw from vanquishing my disturbing conceptions. Therefore, it is a very important task that you make a resolute determination that as far as fighting against these negative emotions are concerned, it will be continuous. Means continuous. This one. There is a very beautiful verse in Maitreya Sutra Alamkara. Gola simchi kurji kurwai sembachone thalgin dominje selaure. Gola simchi ke dogdi kine simchi thamje phemba chego yogi samlodan dinge china. Legates mache ne kunju thanda tes yarjuk marjuk chegor ma do mache de dena ngosai res labre. Rwa nangmi chigna mi mangko chig rokwa chego yona ene mandro chinye dena khyamne rwa nangmi de chayo na nangmi labne yakyo yore lamsa kogre rwa hiu jugu rwa ngara so o den gola simji kurjin kurwai so so gola changjuk simji ne semjin samge kurdi kurgi labdi yude dinde kurkigi ge changju semba chone dalgin rome je semba changju semba de lele chendro den jewo yamar silabre kanji khuzu tonda lega chegor segor rwa semjin kujin kurwai semba chone dalgin rome je dahin naso chingwe rab chingba zomba jangyurwe ne chawe sidwa rang da hin sangma da korbe nang la chu nyomo wang de chu kange chimbo la de ne zundu tel lakbar de jata chegwe chigrewa rwa de jude me sosu lenge tewa de zoina ko hurta parta chena mangbo hiujil fen tho do. So this verse from Sutra Alamkara, it says that those bodhisattvas who had taken a vow to take the responsibility of helping other sentient beings on their head, on their shoulder, having made such a commitment, if you find this bodhisattvas loitering around, moving slowly, doing nothing, it doesn't look nice, good to the bodhisattvas. And realizing that you and all sentient beings are tightly bound under the bondage of afflictive emotions and samsara, therefore it is worthwhile to make 100,000 more effort in relieving their sufferings. If you look at the sufferings of the people, it's quite urgent. If you look at sufferings of yourself, it's urgent. These are urgent projects. So now, with all this urging, with all this persuasion, if you develop a wish to fight with the negative emotions, then you ask the question, okay, now I really want to do something, how should I do it? That's the answer in the next verse. And to do this will be my sole obsession. Just as we get obsessed with something which is not so important, just as we get addicted with something which is not so important. Now I developed one obsession, that is the obsession to remove the negative emotions. This is what the Dagin dil shen chahing sedeta nyomo pang khran langeta shengis ta chikin se word. And to do this will be my sole obsession, means to get rid of these afflictive emotions will be now my obsession from today onwards. That means I will concentrate on that. Holding a strong grudge against the afflictive emotions, I shall meet them in battle. I will fight you. The great Kadamba master say, Khosab na ngasab, kholo na ngalus. If the negative emotions are extra careful, I will also be extra careful. If they relax, I will also relax. Yet disturbing conceptions such as these destroy disturbing emotions and for the time being are not to be abandoned. Yet disturbing concepts such as this destroying not to be, can't say. So when we say that you develop this grudge against the negative emotions, then somebody might ask you a question, this doesn't sound like Buddhist practice. Developing grudge against somebody, developing disliking against afflictive emotions. So he answers this in the next line by saying that when you talk about removing the afflictive emotions as an object of elimination, and when you talk about the positive counter forces and then developing grudge, and then developing kind of mindfulness and conscientiousness and so forth, so these all come into the category of development of positive counter forces. They are not negative emotions. Number 10 nyomomba se nyomomba ndawada chi yore de nyomo jomjere ma to nyomo ngune mares. Rwa nyomo jomye la khongi pangi singa je chewena ti nyomo ngune chagyo mares. So ma ji su nyomo khora pangi to dal lagyo da. Okay. And then in the next verse, you are saying that whatever be the hardship, I will now encounter this hardship, and I will never submit myself to the dictates of afflictive emotions. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off, and to be killed, rather than ever bowing down to those ever-present disturbing conceptions. I will never ever submit to the dictates of the negative emotions. So now you are very strong in your decision. So it's a very clever way to personify these afflictive emotions, as I said earlier. and then deal with them. Okay. And then at the same time, you should also develop some kind of delight in your mind, realizing that if I make an effort, I can get rid of these negative emotions. Pang thuye jire, ngarang ki bezo ma jire, zundu chungdare, namying chedare, rawa, go mazure. Do chik chewa ina da pang thuye re kya samde ne gana livgi re se. Gana livgi rawa. Khungdro saye mewa, doja jiye mewa rawa, namju kange suge sangwa mewa lebna gana livgi baro. Rawa. So when you see that you can really remove these afflictive emotions, then naturally there will be joy, peace and happiness. Verse number 45. Common enemies when expelled, now the reason. Common ordinary enemies when expelled from one country simply retire and settle down in another country, and though when their strength is recovered, they then return. However, the way of this enemy, the negative emotions, is not similar in this respect. That means one good news. The good news is in the case of ordinary enemy, the bad thing with ordinary enemy is if you today you are stronger and banish them from this place, they'll go to some other place, gather more friends, get more weapons, become richer, and then come to revenge you, fight you again. But the good news with the negative emotions, that if you remove the negative emotions once, they'll not come back. That is good news, really good news. Verse number 46. Deluded, disturbing conceptions, when forsaken by the eye of wisdom and dispelled from my mind, where will you go? Where will you dwell in order to be able to endure me again later? Weak-minded, I have been reduced to making no effort. Nyomo nyomo hira megiban. That means deluded, disturbed. Now the translation is quite not so as good as we have in Tibetan. But still the idea is deluded, disturbing conceptions. He is basically saying these negative emotions. It's the only problem is you are not developing wisdom. You are not developing any positive counter forces against these negative emotions. But if you do, then as and when the wisdom eye sees the negative emotions will have no power, no strength to stand and stay there. They'll vanish. Rawa, when wisdom eye ki doja dugja yiba thona, rangshi ki ngosa ni doja chungdu dur. Dagana shi khana chungdu dur. Khasa pyoge tsik da hiu yose de. Nyomo shira megi pang se do. To nyomo thangko de hindi ki la bechare se gor, bechare. Bechare this negative emotions, bechare sidu kare. To nyomchung ke yo mare se da ko to se nyom ngazu no ba hiu che de gor de na ngazu hirab ge megi yakbo jite na bechare ke yo mare ndo cho thyo do gor se gor de. Pi thugre se gor de. Because if you look at this, the nature of these afflictive emotions are concerned, they are also very weak. Because we never made an attempt, so they are lingering there. But if you see the actual state of the negative emotions, naturally they will disappear. Because these negative emotions are not based on a solid foundation. There is no reason for them to linger. In the case of compassion, there is a reason. Why should we have compassion to all sentient beings? Because all sentient beings want happiness, do not want suffering. They are suffering, therefore we should develop compassion. There is a reason for that. Compassion is very suitable for our physical body and also for the mind. There is a reason for developing these positive emotions. Whereas in the negative emotions, there is no solid foundation. They are based on mistaken conceptions. So therefore, as and when you employ the wisdom that sees the reality, the negative emotions will disappear. Disappear means, it's not like that you look then disappear. It's not like that. It means if you make an effort, then you will reduce them and gradually you can remove them. Deluded, disturbing conceptions, when forsaken, removed by the eye of wisdom and dispelled from the mind, then they will not be able to come back. Where will you go? It's not a physical entity. It was only a misconception here. When that misconception is removed, nothing remains there. Rawa? Misconception rawa thanching elap songa. Suzuki norne yakbo memba chile yakbo re samdewa. yakbu yimba chile yakbu mare, samdeba yangse yunguduwa. Where will you dwell? Because it's just a misconception. And when you develop the right conception, misconception will disappear. Where will you dwell in order to be able to endure me again? So you will not be able to come back again. Weak-minded, I have been reduced to making no effort. It's only because of your weakness. It's only because you did not make effort. Therefore, they are still there. If you be a little bit strong, make a little bit effort, you can remove them. In the next verse, verse 47, saying that this is true because if you try to locate these afflictive emotions, you will never find them anywhere. If these disturbing conceptions do not exist within the objects, meaning that these disturbing emotions do not exist within the objects, they do not exist within the sense organs, they do not exist in between the objects and the sense organs, between the two, nor elsewhere, then where do they exist? And how do they harm the world? It's only misconception. They have no definite place. We can say that they are there. They are like an illusion. Thus I should dispel the fear within my heart and strive resolutely for wisdom. So therefore, please be courageous. Don't develop the fear that you will be ruined by afflictive emotions. You can remove them. For no reason, why should I suffer so much in hell? 장보시나 로와 또 소소메 시에네 탑시지에 여기 비에 여기 근데지글 매선 춘에 맞제데데 에네 욕부차느냐 되거로다 로와 그도 민다직 누구시오 땅 욕부죽 누구시오 지기요나 엔티 현달은 드서요 와지 단독 말을 디올데다 독종으로 받다디 어디나 시에서 거라 so this is a very powerful verse where he is saying that you are unnecessarily suffering. If you make a little bit of effort, if you develop a little bit of wisdom and see the reality, then you will be able to remove these misconceptions of the reality from where afflictive emotions arise. It's because you are faint-hearted, you are weak, you are not making effort. So these negative emotions became your boss and they are playing with your life. They are treating you in accordance with their whims. But if you make a little bit of effort, you can reduce them. Gradually you can eliminate them. Then if you do that, then the real sunshine of happiness will be there with you. If you are unable to do that, doesn't matter, you get a good name, you get lots of money, lots of friends, so what? They will all contribute towards more suffering. Normally, as I said earlier, normally we think my happiness will come from wealth, my happiness will come from money, my happiness will come from friends, relatives, things like that. But the reality is, what is outside of you, you cannot get long-lasting peace and happiness from what is outside of you. Because what is outside of you, you have hardly any control. So how can you get long-lasting peace and happiness from those over which you have no control? So therefore, the only tactic left for you to get happiness is that to realize that things outside of you, you have no control, but how would you react to those that is outside of you, that is in your hand. For example, Dharamsala rain, it's raining heavily. Now if you expect that happiness coming from the rain, and then it continues to rain day and night, you will feel miserable. See, I thought I'll get happiness from this rain, but it's not stopping, you see. And then you complain, you curse, this horrible Dharamsala weather, you say all the bad things, it will create more problem, more difficulty. The rain is not going to stop because you have cursed it. But instead, if you change your attitude, okay, this is monsoon season, and at least Dharamsala can boast itself, being the second place experiencing heaviest rainfall in India, things like that, You can be happy, you see. So how you react to changing situations. In other words, finding happiness in an uncertain world. In Buddhism, we call it impermanent, transient, things like that. But basically, we are saying, how will you find happiness in an uncertain world? How will you find happiness in a changing world? How will you happiness in a world where everything is in a flux? The only way to get that happiness is to realize that everything is impermanent, to realize that everything is transient, to realize that everything is in a flux. So therefore, the Buddhist teachers, they say, see your mind as a dream. See the object of the mind as a dream. And then meditate like a dream. Then you will get a fruit which is like a dream. Everything is like a dream. You will have difficulty understanding this, because till now you thought, no, I know this is not dream, this is real life situation. It's not dream. So I always tell people now, in Buddhism, when we say things do not exist independently, means things are dependent on a multiplicity of causes and conditions. And within this complex multiplicity of causes and conditions, you cannot really touch your hand and figure out this is responsible for this. It's in a flux. See. To prove this point more clearly, for example, if you are a young man or young woman of say 25 years old today, during the last 25 years that you already spent, 25 years is a long story. You can make a long movie out of it. How many times you have wept and cried? How many times you've laughed? How many times you were happy? How many times you suffered? It's a long history, 25 years. But today you look back, it's a dream. It's only a memory. There's hardly any difference between that 25 years of experience to the dream that you had last night. That's what I'm saying. That's what Buddha is saying. So the rest of your life will also go like this. And the advantage of seeing things, that things are like an illusion, like a dream, is that you will not get obsessed with life. You will not develop attachment. You will not develop anger. The same master Shantideva, in this text, he says, "Metta sushi metta la kanshi chakbar chebayu. Metta sushi metta la kanshi dangwar chebayu." When you are impermanent, others are impermanent, it's not worthwhile to develop attachment. When you are impermanent, the others impermanent, it's not worthwhile to develop anger and jealousy. If you are having difficulty understanding this word impermanence, sometimes I use the word fragile. Fragile. When you fly, and in your baggage, if you have some fragile things, then you tell the people in the aircraft service, can you please handle this carefully? And you also write on that, fragile, handle carefully. So we are like that. We are all fragile, handle carefully, please. So handle carefully, fragile, handle carefully means you are suffering. You have already, all of us, whoever we are, president, prime minister, whoever we are, except that some of us are good in pretending, maybe a little bit less physical suffering, but we all have problems and difficulties. So once you realize that, then you will handle carefully other people. You will not, try to create unnecessary extra problem. Fragile, handle carefully. You see? So that's the meaning of impermanence. Okay. Last verse. Therefore, having thought about this well, I should try to put these precepts into practice just as they have been explained. If the doctor's instructions are ignored, how will a patient in need of a cure be healed by the medicine? It's such a good teacher, and the verses are so powerful. So in this, at least in this is the last closing verse of this chapter. So here he is saying that when you are physically sick and go to a doctor, the doctor will give you a nice prescription, nice suggestion. But after having done the consultation, after having got the medicine, if you don't eat, how can you hope to heal your illness? That's what we ordinarily also, that's what we do. We get bunch of medicine from medical center, others, and then we don't eat it. Waste those things. How much medicines we are wasting, you see. And we never get healed, you see. Yesterday you were a little bit unwell, you go and take bunch of medicine. Today you think you are a little bit better, you don't take medicine. You see. So therefore these teachings are medicines for removing the afflictive emotions. So if you really want to heal the afflictive emotions, then you better practice these teachings. And if you don't practice, unless we practice, we will not get the desired benefit. So that is what he is saying. So anyway, thank you very much for spending your time attending the talks for the last 5 days. Not because you are listening to me, okay? Because we are trying to do something good. The purpose that the library has organized this 5 days evening program every month by the 2 other Geshes and myself is so that we all have time and many of us have interest. So it is a shame that if we don't get such an opportunity. There is a hall here, So I thought there may be some people who will be interested. So let us give a try, rather than saying our culture is this. In Tibet there is no freedom. We have a freedom, so we should do something. You see. So that's why we started this program, and so far the attendance was okay, quite good. And then in the future, if there are more serious people, like especially among the young Tibetans, then we can. I was thinking, I already discussed with these 2 Geshes. I'm not making a big commitment, but I'm saying possibility. The possibility is the other 2 Geshes are teaching in Tibetan because they don't speak English. Then I thought I speak broken English, so I thought there may be English listeners who will also get benefit, and there are many young Tibetans who are also very good in English, So that's why I'm using my broken English and teaching, But I would personally love to teach in Tibetan. So therefore, in the future, if among the young Tibetans, if there are some who are really a little bit more deeply interested, then we can pick one text and explain that text word by word, meaning by meaning, so that we really, are able to understand the essence. Di gosarewa pento duwa samaraje tinde chungna samne ngege le laboyo thone higibe kichere ta ina sozo hira mewa che nyamnyong hira me da pento me khan shirwa ta jungwa rimbe hipsabo chi hen goyo na eni peche tangi chahi mangbo digre ngarang gotom lega chenge chung gotom lagle yungumando hen text chungchung de ning jewo de par jeb eni de je kabla lele chene nyima ta mathala dunda chi nyima chu chonga de sorwoji 다 도나 요게 요나 대용 에네 헐 쳔에 빼제디 약보지 셴바진 데헤지 잡 에네 빼제디 소소 냐르 에네 양세 때 에네 코멘트리 딜 야가 되는 용도 때 독시나 에네 히네 근데 히숙도 그러와 어디 개침 버다 띵가 람니토스 가서나 된다 가서 된데 최고의 된다는데 참 그런 뭐지 꿀레 가서 준 것도 배나를 장도 용의 희외를 장에 고가비요 말이야 되지 가서 어디가 대대는 초스케면도 Timadoke ngazu de yung de thira chi gangla de dine lama na thyen ke lama thyen sobda khora me rewai me rwa ngune thangbu hien ding tagas khan hig me da de phena samara chi de yor des rwa so sangme ge chi chegor wada mo chi de phena samne chi gor de chi de chirang su ngone de shuk jab gor ye chi me ge chi dogna te gu de me na ke me ba che rwa pena khala de chi na mi chi salam na sa hi ku de marwa 사그러와 녀제 자가 도그래야 미글로가 도구 다시 도구 서로 잡기를 녀네 공도 주 칼라세네 사고도 뒤숨스 키스 다 두서릭데 럽죠 제도서 다 낭초 찍고 세금에다 lobjong tingsa ke lobjong sheyo kola seri ke kola ta kari thole na pe te yaga drega mangbo shiu jang do to so rik la paru group din de sone nyam do lobjong jang ye ro chiji kheba din de ke dan din do rik te so go dang zo lo shoma na lakbar do tan go do de bala te khashi ji heb de lang tu na ene khemba mig da mangbo so go wa so da chung na hi re ro tumji thawa na hi re 미지 소리 중에 진 고수도 상마 소리 중에 강가 좀 공초여다 대한나시 dum시 타는 공초에 봐 대한나시 희영을 때서 싱란 때서 제토고도 오네잖아 엔 데블로에 해베르 촌에 매와지 너무 new 미지 되와지 드럼셀레네 베벨 레제 망고 나 this is I'm tempted to say something to the Tibetans, so please don't mind me because I'm encouraging them to engage in more rigorous study of Buddhism and also other knowledges, not just sitting and whiling away the time. We can't afford to do that because we are a small population in exile. Yeah. So it's very important. Oh, duk seje chasa Japanese media yung ne pepe kora ngoshi madinde shungi leje kashi nanglo chiyo sare. Ko nyama ji hangsa ne kare chana su papa su lo shamba su tep chune logo yo mar besi duk se. Sha nal hira tep thonye me isarwa. 다 상마데 딘데 인지 말이데 코드로서 딘데 차인지로와 이나 디야데스 두가 딘데 데빌로엘 히라랑 야메게 두서 망고 히오지글 텔레비전 처음에 줘들 히우다 두서 뚱바데 데스다메 나오지보 인다 이로와 데스 다 딱와라 시데 텔레비전 처음에 줘들 디지메로 딘데 작레 잡데 줘 딘데 자자다 데네 히우히우 엔데 디직 체나 히우지도 니베드 착착착 지도 데 맹한 로지 체스도 다 두서 심사샷 로세지네 근데 미다 미 그게 광고 제가 드즈디오 말데 다가 세당이 낭면신 라브레와 대주도 때에서 체중 개체중 섬로단 여러분 어디체네 때에서 로브정 걸 때에서 휴 잡서는 근데 간주 고에 탄 두그러와 깔리 잡네 벤조르 소트와 로브정 체트와 근데 고르마다 때면에도 선데 자우르면 게 잡되어 상마 딱 버려 힘게 잡사라고 말와 근데 재미게 통종 미투네 단 그래 콜 디베드 멤버기 뽑아 콜 요래 그러와 송잡이 그 뽑아 요래다 등서 딘데시도 가서 배협중라단 그러와 아니 가나 속에 디날 지 야람도 하고 지대된 존단지가 매대는 야람도 고래 야람 존단지가 이제 고르다 되면은 고념중세래 되면 고념중 지지고 제대는 배경 말해라 가와이 쓸립게 말와 그 말을 제도 sol리나 카타만이 그 념중이고 야람 제도 sol라 거의 숙제세 랍투게 뽑아 제투게 그러와 랩투가 고르와 군대게 숨도와 어딘데시도 어딘가 좀 이게 딘데시는 다들가 중중도서 독성 고조래 마웅발이나 어딘데 지랑서 응원에 딘데 담던치 양게 실에 야고 딘데 다서 빼자 야고 시긴데 망고요 인지미제 게시인 거 말에 데미메야 지금 로정 현다 전에 야고 여기 간저 페페 나로라 야고 딘데 레브나야 지진에 다 등사 갈라가서 연구도와 딘데 야고 딘데 레베요나야 딘데 코케 단데로 체리 콜레 이나레 딘데 갈이야 동데 딘데 제 딘데 지에요와 어딘데 툴 향나 야고도 엔 투지체 Thank you very much.